Okay, it speaks languages. It doesn't create images very well. Now, they've pulled some other things in there to kind of help it, but there's some specialized AIs that are really good at creating images, some other ones that are really good at creating video, but ChatGPT is a language model, okay? So a language model has things like chatbots. You ever been on a website and there's a little chatbot in the bottom corner, and you can click on that and you can talk to it, and it'll talk to you because it knows everything in the website? That's a language model. We have those at Huzi, by the way. They're rolling out next month in March. We're rolling out, everybody with Huzi is going to get 5 assistants. They're basically bots that you can have do anything you want. You could have it on your website, answer questions. You could put it in your LinkedIn account. You could put it on your Instagram and put a listing up on your Instagram account. Say, hey, do you like my listing? DM me your questions. And then people will DM you questions. It's the bot that's talking to them. Wow. 24/7, 365, right? So if somebody is looking at it at 1 a.m., the chat bot will answer all their questions. And then you can turn it off and jump in anytime you want, or just leave the chat bot knows everything. It'll schedule appointments for you. It'll put them on your calendar for you. Like, it's like literally having an employee.
Isn't it kind of like what Alexa is?
Yeah, kind of. Same concept. So translators, chatbots, and content creation are what we kind of do with large language models. Okay, that's what we're probably most familiar with. But there's other kinds of AI. There's vision AI. So it recognizes, you ever go up to something and there's like a facial recognition thing or a retinal recognition thing. Security cameras have this built into a lot of places. They can recognize people. You always see the movies like the Jason Bourne movies. It's like, oh, there's Jason Bourne. I recognize his face, right? Facial recognition is an AI. Medical imaging. So not just x-rays and not just CAT scans, but even getting deeper and deeper into the cellular level of imaging things. We're going to see a lot of breakthroughs because of AI in the medical world, which is really cool. Self-driving cars. How do cars drive by themselves? You've heard about the Google cars, and even Tesla has self-driving modes. There's an AI in there that looks. It's using the camera. It's seeing things. It sees that car and it moves. It sees the lane. It's like, it's a vision AI. Okay. Then there's predictive analysis AI. Banks have been using this for years. Banks have been using AI for about 10 years, by the way. ChatGPT didn't get released to the public until November of 2022 is when it got released to the public. But it had been around a while. Banks have been using this for years. AI to look at patterns. IRS uses it to look at patterns of income, patterns of expenses, fraud detection, stock market predictions. This is going to get bigger. We can use it as home seller predictions. If you got a 1,000 home subdivision, instead of marketing to all 1,000 homes, wouldn't it be nice to know which 100 are the next most likely ones to move? Well, based on income, equity, age, familial status, all this stuff, AI can figure that out and say, hey, these 100 are probably the best ones to market to. That's predictive analysis, which is really cool. And then customer behavior analysis. What kind of things do you buy? You know, I always tell people this because I used to use Infusionsoft back when I was at KW years ago. So Infusionsoft, if you've ever been on a site before, like you go on, let's say you Google hiking boots. And you go on, you look at REI, you look at Cabela's, you look at a couple other places, and like the next day or even 2 or 3 days later, you're on Facebook and you see all these ads for hiking boots. You ever had that happen to you? That's Infusionsoft. Infusionsoft was an early precursor of AI that monitors your habits of shopping, and then it tries to give you things that you would want. So customer behavior analysis, now they're getting really good at that, giving you things that it thinks you're going to want to buy, what you want to look at. Then there's automation and robotics. Surgery, like in hospitals, right? Manufacturing, building cars. My nephew works as a programmer of robots that build chips for computers in Hillsboro, Oregon for Intel. And he does stuff in other countries as well because robots build computers. They build themselves now, right? But that's a huge thing, automation and robotics. Autonomous drones, warehouse logistics, like even putting stuff away. Not only where to put stuff and how to inventory it and make sure it's in the right spot, but actually literally physically putting stuff away. Now the robots are doing all that for us. So that's another use of AI. Then generative AI. So generative AI, we were just looking at one, Adobe Firefly is an example. Nick was just showing us, he has that on his computer. It will generate images. I used to use Midjourney a lot. It'll generate images. It'll generate videos, movies and music. Unfortunately, you're going to see a lot of this stuff, a lot of deepfake. A lot of videos you see on social media nowadays are not real. You ever seen one now that you know is fake? It's some influencer that you were following and they're talking about something. It's like, that's not them talking. That's a deep fake video. You're going to see more of this. Unfortunately, you're going to see more of the good and the bad as AI gets bigger. But you're going to see movies, like literal Hollywood movies, the entire movie. The writing of it, the production, the filming, the music scores is going to be done by AI. Like this year, you'll start seeing that kind of stuff come out. which is going to be crazy, like the entire thing. So AI is going to be taking over more and more of that. And my wife's an artist, so people like my wife sometimes go, well, I don't like AI because I want to paint something myself. But AI can paint too, right? But I know a guy that works for hotel chains, and he's a distributor, so he has to outfit like 40,000 rooms in 45 different hotels with stuff. You go in a hotel room, there's art on the wall, right? Well, he uses AI. His company uses AI to create images, to create photos, to create paintings. Obviously, artists don't like that, but for someone like him, it's a lot easier and a lot cheaper than hiring an artist to outfit 40,000 hotel rooms with images and graphics and the decor. AI is doing all that stuff now.
That's almost the difference between new construction, cookie cutter,
Yeah.
and older.
And a custom home or an older home. Yeah, exactly. So there's going to be a lot of things for us to think about. What's the future? Well, personalized shopping experiences are going to get better and better and better because AI knows what you like and knows what you don't like. In Huzi, for example, we're building, so you'll be able to have this, I'm hoping within the year, but think about this. How many of you send out newsletters to your clients? You ever do that? Or send out emails? Typically what people do is like maybe a monthly newsletter and it goes out to everybody. One newsletter. So if you've got 10,000 people in your database, you have an open rate of 20 to 30% typically, right? And they'll open it up. But it's kind of a static newsletter that everybody gets. What if AI wrote the newsletter and it wrote 10,000 different emails? Personalized to every single person in your database. That'd be cool. You think of what your open rate would be. Think about your connectivity with people. That's what's coming, guys. We'll be able to connect individual with 10,000 people because AI will know everything about all 10,000 of these people, and it'll create 10,000 different newsletters instead of one that I blanket send to everybody. So that's going to really help us in the real estate industry is engage with individuals. And that's what we're always preaching at Huzi. Our first tagline when we started the company was, don't be artificially social. What that means is don't just broadcast to the masses stuff constantly. That's what people typically do with AI. We'd rather you connect with individuals by really learning them, and AI can help you. If you've done right, AI can help you be way more creative and better than you would be on your own. That's the advantage of AI. It really can help us. The disadvantage is we can just give it tasks and let it do stuff, and we all get spam and just junk from all kinds of places. Well, that's only going to increase over the coming years. So we want to use it responsibly. And has anybody ever heard of AGI, by the way? Because right now, AI is what's called narrow scope AI. If I tell AI to do something, it can do it. If I say, okay, Don and I want to go to Greece. Can you book the flights? Can you book the hotels? Can you create an itinerary for it? AI can do all that right now for us. But it's because I told it what I wanted it to do very specifically. AGI is what's coming, which is where it starts to think. It starts anticipating what you might want. Not just what you told it, it's going to start doing other things as well. This is really scary and really cool at the same time. This is like Skynet, if you guys are familiar with Terminator. It became self-aware on October 10th, right? That's when it became self-aware. That's what AGI is. It becomes self-aware, and it now can think and do things that we're not telling it to do. Some people thought just a year ago, we're decades away from this. Now, we think we're going to have this by 2030. 5 years, we will have AGI, which means it will anticipate and think and be like a partner. Like literally, we can just talk to it and it'll, like Jarvis in Iron Man, literally, is like, hey, Jarvis, I want to do this. And can you do it for me? It'll help you shop. I mean, right now, you can take a picture of your refrigerator with Huzi, download the photo and say, hey, can you create some recipes from what you see in here for me? I've got a family of 4, I want to feed dinner tonight. We can already do that today.
Wow.
So there's some really cool use cases. But this is what's coming is the future is AGI, where it literally starts thinking and it's more human-like. Maybe someday. Have you heard of, there's a Chinese company that's selling robots. They start at $16,000 for the cheapest, but they go up to $79,000 for their most fanciest one. But it's like literally like a humanoid with DeepSeek AI built into it. So it walks around your house. It'll clean, cook. It's crazy. That's just, so AI with robotics is going through right now an exponential revolution. So in the next couple of years, I'll bet you a lot of us will have personal robots in our lifetime. I know our kids will. I mean, you can have one right now, but they're going to be so commonplace. It's like, remember when I was born in 1970. I grew up in the 70s and 80s. I remember the Apple II, Apple IIe, Macintosh, all these things that came out. And Microsoft, Bill Gates said, everybody's going to have a personal computer someday. Remember, everybody thought he was crazy. We all have personal computers now. Everybody, I think within the next 10 years, 15 years, everybody will have a personal robot. Robotics is going through a revolution right now, and they can do so many things. So there's good and bad with that, right? Let's talk about that. Positives. The good things are we are going to see medical breakthroughs in medicine, in science, in problem solving in the next 5 years that we've never seen. AI is going to accelerate our learning so much. It's going to be really cool. It's going to eliminate repetitive jobs that nobody wants to do. AI can take that kind of stuff over. It's going to allow humans to focus on creativity and relationships. I think, guys, if you can put your arms around your sphere, it's more important now than ever. Talk to your sphere, get together with your sphere, because in the next couple of years, that human connection is going to be so valuable. Because everybody's going to get inundated with AI stuff constantly. And it's going to be really well written, because AI gets really smart. But then it's going to be stale, though. It's going to be sterile. We want people. We want to connect with people. And then your people want to connect with people. So if you can put your arms around your sphere, that's a huge advantage. Focus on creativity and relationships. There's going to be unprecedented technological advances in the next 5 years. And then enhanced human-to-human interactions. Again, we're going to appreciate other human beings more because of what's happening. But here's the negatives. There's some potential negatives of AI too. Unemployment in many sectors due to automation. Like you start thinking about jobs. Here's what I would like to say. If you're in the top 10% of your field, pretty much any field, you're fine. You're going to be safe because you're probably going to be using AI to 10x what you're doing. If you're an accountant, if you're a paralegal that does research, if you're a bookkeeper, if you're a travel agent, I'll bet you 80 or 90% of those are going to go away in the next 5 years. It's done. Why? AI can do it so fast. Why would you need a person? If I got in a car accident and you're my attorney, right? And you have a paralegal, you have Dawn as your paralegal, and she looks up stuff for you and feeds you cases. Hey, Rick got in a car accident. Here's the circumstances. Here's the traffic patterns. Here's everything that happened. Dawn, I want you to look up what are some other precedents to help me build a case. And she goes and looks up. It might take her a couple of days, a week to research stuff. AI can do it in 5 seconds. Literally give you everything you ever need. And why do you need a paralegal? I mean, there's going to be a lot of jobs that are going away. You guys probably all saw the NAR stat, 71% of realtors last year didn't sell one house. Did you see that? 71%, Sharon. NAR. NAR stat, 71% of realtors did not sell a house last year. That means all of the sales are happening from 29% of the agents. So again, my predictions, if you're in the top 10, 20% of stuff, you're going to be fine. If you're not in the top 10 or 20% of stuff, you are going to be replaced either by AI or by a person who's using AI who's really good at it. They're going to just grow their market share. Does that make sense? That's huge. Security threats, unfortunately. AI will be able to hack into things, take over accounts. You'll see more scams. You'll see more things that aren't legitimate, unfortunately, because of AI. It's just like the internet. The internet's great and terrible. I mean, what do you want to do? Whatever you want is there. It's awesome. It can do incredible things, and there's also some terrible stuff on it, too. It's just, how are you going to use it? That's how AI is going to be. Ethical dilemmas. Well, when AI starts thinking, does it align with our values as human beings? Do we care about other people? Do we care about life? What do we care about? How are we going to make sure AI, when it self-realizes what's going on, aligns with our values and shares our values? Right? That's what Elon Musk has been talking about lately, yeah, specifically.
Linda is saying that AI can now reproduce itself.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
It's just,
So now, if you're a computer programmer, you're about done, because AI does it all. So we're doing one as a team. We play with AI all the time. So Eric, our founder, is doing one right now. He has an operator app. So it's an AI that can work for you like a bot. It can write code. So it's creating an app for him. So he just told it what it wanted to do. He doesn't know how to write code very well. He's slow, but it's fast. So it's just working 24/7. And like he did it, this is a couple of days ago. He kind of talked to it that evening. The next day he woke up and he had the prototype of the app working already because it did it. It will create itself. Like that's really cool. But then potential weaponizations, like, okay, how are we going to use AI against other people? I mean, not just like military weaponization, but just like in deep fake videos. Oh, I saw Donald Trump said this. Like, well, he never said that, but it looked like him. It sounded like him, but it wasn't him. I mean, that kind of stuff is going to happen. People are going to weaponize AI, yeah, to slant people already. Yeah, we're already seeing that on social media. And the other big negative is some people are just going to avoid interacting with AI. They don't want to learn it, and they're going to fall way behind. That's where the gap creation is going to be. Especially in real estate, like an industry like this, if you don't embrace this and use these tools to help you get better and create a better experience for your clients, somebody else will. And that's who's going to get all that business. That's why I recommend really wrapping your arms around your sphere right now. That's the one thing people can't take away from you, the people you already have a relationship with, right? That's key. So change is coming for real estate. We saw this last April, a year ago, when the lawsuit happened. What it turns out is people in the general public want agents to do better. They want to be more transparent. They want access to information quicker. AI can help with all that stuff. And if you don't do that, then you're going to be in trouble. So these are all different terms you've heard. A GPT, what's GPT mean? Well, it means a generative pre-trained transformer. We'll talk about that. Machine learning. So here's what ChatGPT actually means. It's a generative pre-trained transformer. So ChatGPT doesn't think. AI doesn't think right now. AI is very good at recognizing patterns. Patterns of speech, patterns of numbers, whatever. So it can find things very quickly. So how does it do this? Well, it's a language query. It predicts responses to different queries. So like if you said the cow jumped over the, what do you think it's going to say? Moon. What if the AI was a dairy farm AI? It was trained in dairy farm. It does all the marketing for them to their wholesalers. It does all the back office taxes and profit and loss statements for them. It does all their scheduling of when the cows need to be milked. It does all their employee time clocking. It's an AI for a dairy farm. It might say the cow jumped over the fence or a bale of hay or a bucket, or it might say something different because it's trained differently. Does that make sense? AI doesn't know like what we know. It only knows what it's trained on. Okay, so it's very important to understand this is not the truth. AI doesn't know truth. So if you're looking for AI for is this right or wrong, or who's better, this person or this person, it's like, it doesn't know that. It doesn't know truth. Don't look to AI for truth. That's you. Your wisdom has to come into play here at some point. It knows patterns. It's very good. It speaks every language you want to speak. We have a lady in Lake Oswego that speaks Mandarin Chinese. We have people speaking Spanish to it. I mean, AI is like the best translator because it knows everything. It knows Klingon, right? It knows Elfish. It knows Russian. It knows anything. Computer language, binary language. It knows all that. AI is really good at language. It's not really good at truth, wisdom, what's right, what's wrong. It doesn't know any of that. It doesn't know any of that. You're going to have to use your judgment for that kind of thing, okay? So what's our mission at Huzi? Improve the experience of the home buyer and seller. That's the whole point. We need home buyers and sellers. That's who pay our paycheck. If we don't have people buying houses, then we don't have an income. But we need to make their experience better. So we are betting on the real estate community. So this is a little different than Zillow. Zillow tried to go around the real estate community, direct to the consumer, give them all the information, and hope that they would go directly to Zillow. Well, they underestimated the relationship factor, how important that was to people. Having someone they know and they trust to guide them through this process. That's what they missed. And they're now, they lost billions of dollars. You guys realize that, right, Zillow? I mean, they really messed up on what they thought people would want. People want that relationship and that guidance. So that's what we're about at Huzi. We want to go through agents. We want to empower you. This is going to be very important to understand. In the next year to 2 years, you're going to see a ton of new AIs come out that are going to try and sidestep you, go right to the consumer. You know, why would I need an agent? I can just use this AI to buy my house, write the offer, negotiate it, do everything, because there's tons of those coming. We're betting on the agent community. I think the NAR population is going to shrink significantly over the next 2 to 3 years. I just think it will. But those that are there still are going to be using stuff like this and doing a better job for their clients. And that's who we want to work with. We're not trying to go around you. So I put this slide up all the time because the very first time Eric and I met, we were sitting down talking about what do agents need. So Eric and I met in Portland a couple of times, and he flew to Boise and spent some time with Don and I. We went to a restaurant, and this is literally what we came up with, these 4 things. Overwhelm with paperwork, number 1. I started in real estate in 1994. Next month will be 31 years I've been a broker. The purchase and sale agreement was 3 pages long when I started. It was all triplicate, so you had to write really hard in carbons. Anybody remember that? You had to tear one off for the client, tear one off for the other agent, and tear one off for your office, right? Paperwork has, come a long way. And we have 9 pages of the RE21 now, I think, plus a couple of extra pages addendums. So, I mean, we'd like to get rid of some paperwork or at least be able to have something else handle it for us. If AI can handle it and make it easier for us, wouldn't that be nice? Overwhelmed with technology. When I started in real estate, we had Top Producer. You guys remember the old Top Producer? There's a bunch of different fields you'd enter things into, and we didn't have the internet in 1994. I remember when the internet came out. I had a Packard Bell computer, and I was sitting at my desk, and I remember it took me literally took 5 minutes to get on the internet. Okay, so I would get on and I would try and look for pages. And I remember this some lady in Arizona was like one of the very first realtors in the whole country that had a website as a real estate agent. And it took 2 minutes to load her website. But I just thought, how cool is this? But it was so frustratingly slow. It's just ridiculous. But now we have so much technology, but it's supposed to make our life easier. How many of you are working less than you did 10 years ago? No, we're working more, right? Technology seems to make things more complicated and more competitive. Fighting for business is lead gen. We're all trying to lead gen. Idaho Lead, right? I mean, they do a good job of it. And then struggling to find time for it all. I hear this all the time. I don't want to hire anybody, Rick. I don't like to manage people. But I wish there were two of me. Anybody ever think that way? It's like, I want it done exactly the way I want to do it, because realtors, we tend to be very controlling. The way I do it is the best way. So I want to do it my way, but I want leverage at the same time. I want two of me. Well, that's what AI can help you with. So a couple of statistics just to understand them. I'm going to pull up Huzi here and show you. This one is really significant to me. These are NAR stats, by the way. 81% of consumers only spoke to one agent before they hired him. They interviewed one agent, not 2, 3, 5. So what does that mean to you?
You can't make there's only one first impression.
That's right. So be first. If you're the first one that talks to them, you've got a very good chance of getting them. So speed to the client, speed to information, getting in front of them quickly. I mean, calling those leads back, I'm sure they impress that upon you. Yeah, that's a big thing, right? And they don't want to take the leads away if you don't get back to them, because they understand the drop-off. So be first. If you guys can be first, that's so important. And then 65% of people found an agent through a referral. That means be good, be referable. Do a good job for them. Do something exceptional that people will remember, and they'll refer you. People don't refer good stuff. They refer things that they were out of their expectation, right? Think like a restaurant or a movie. It's like, what do you tell everybody about? The terrible ones and the really exceptional ones. But you don't really talk about this kind of stuff in the middle. So we don't want to be in the middle with our clients. We want to be exceptional with our clients and get referred. 95% of sellers said they had stress during the sales process. I don't know why the other 5% didn't. I think everybody feels stressed. But the interesting thing is the stress came before they ever met with their agent. They were already stressed. 53% of people said they were stressed before they even started talking to an agent about selling. So that's where we've built some things into Huzi that'll help people before they even sell, kind of get them on the right frame of mind. So I'd like to show this slide because I want to tell you about what Huzi is. But Huzi goes through every single thing from the pre-listing, generating a lead, converting a lead, getting a listing or a buyer, working with them, the transaction coordination after the offer, all the way to the buy side and the sell side. I mean, everything we do, and then the home ownership right here in the middle, they're going to have access to AI too. One thing people don't talk about enough is, yeah, other agents have AI, and other agents might be using AI, and they might sell more houses than you because they're doing that. What about the consumers that are AI powered? And they want you to be up to speed on everything they're up to speed on. That's a real threat that we have, because if you guys remember the threat report, Steve Murray comes out every year for NAR with what's the biggest complaint about realtors. Every year, the threat report. The threat report had, until 2019, didn't change in my entire career. It was always lack of communication. I can't get a hold of my agent. They never call me back. They listed my house a week ago. I haven't heard a word. It's like communication was always number one. 2019, that changed to what it still is today, which is I know more than my agent knows. That's the new biggest complaint. Why are they earning so much money? What do they do for me? I know more than them. That's only going to get worse, guys, as the customer gets more and more empowered by AI themselves. So we're going to have to make sure we're really good at guiding people through the process, because our role is changing. We don't need to give them information anymore. They get all the information we get through AI. So now it's going to be how to make a decision. What's the best decision for you? Mindset. What's liability going to increase our risk, and what's going to help us out here? Like, our wisdom from selling houses is going to be more important than access to information. That's not going to be a thing anymore. I mean, when I started in real estate in '94, you had to go through me to even look at the house, to get the interior photos. You wouldn't even know what it looked like unless you went through a realtor. Well, now they can go online and file the photos. So our role has changed over the years, and it's continuing to change. This is from Housing Wire in 2023. Real estate agents who are not paying attention to AI are putting their livelihoods at risk. That's very true. I think a third to half of the realtors aren't going to be in business anymore in a couple of years. If they don't use this kind of stuff, that's just what's going to happen. So let me show you what Huzi looks like. This is the dashboard. When you log into Huzi, I want to show you just a couple of things it can do. I would love to take questions, but it would take me, I did a talk for Jan Larison. You guys know who Jan Larison is in Nampa? I've known Jan forever. She has a big team. I did a 2-hour presentation for her because they kept asking more questions and I kept showing them more stuff. There's so many things Huzi can do. I can't go through everything today, but I can just show you some basic stuff. If you've used ChatGPT before, you're familiar with an interface. We call it our Spark Pad. So you can just talk to Huzi. You can add images. You can add files. I'll show you some real use cases here. One use case just might be to talk to it. I talk to Huzi all the time because I think of Huzi like a 4-year-old toddler, like a 4-year-old. And he knows everything, but he doesn't know what I want to do and what I want to have happen. So I have to articulate to him what I want. But he knows the answer if I can ask him correctly, right? So with Huzi, I just like talking to it. Instead of typing, I can talk way faster than I can type. So I'll just talk to it, right? I might say something like, hey, Huzi, I'm a real estate agent in Meridian, Idaho, and I've got some clients coming in from out of town. Can you give me some talking points about Meridian specifically and Eagle, Idaho? What are some fun things to do in the winter around here? Can you give me the top 10 neighborhoods by popularity in Eagle and Meridian, Idaho? And also, I know they have 2 teenagers. So what are the high schools in Meridian and Eagle? And are there any Mexican restaurants nearby? I know the wife likes Mexican food. What are the Mexican restaurants in the area? And what's the real estate market doing? Is it up? Is it down? What's the average sales price in Meridian and in Eagle? And is that up or down compared to this time last year? I might start with something like that, where I'm just talking to it. Give it a bunch of information to think about, right? And now it's going to start going to work for me. It's going to start pulling up activities. It's going to start pulling up neighborhoods. It's now going to go on the internet here. It's going to start looking for real estate statistics. So just thinking, we've got some fun little things when it's thinking. So now it's looking through the internet. So think about how quickly you can prepare to get ready for a buyer. And oh, what they like this or they like that. I mean, what else can I be talking about? So you can just keep iterating this, but you can see how quickly it came up with all this information. So a couple things to note on here. Number one, if you want to know where it's getting it, just click on this little, this eye right here. See this? This is information, and it will give you the websites it's pulling from. It'll tell you where it's pulling everything from. Because you go, oh, where'd you get that? I want to check on that statistic or whatever. It's like, well, it'll just tell you where it got it all. Like you just click on the eye every time, and it'll tell you where it's getting information. And if you don't know what else to ask it, here's a challenge with ChatGPT users, because there's really no help to ChatGPT. You just got to think about it yourself. You can ask Huzi, what else should I be thinking? So I click on Spark mode right here, this little light bulb, and it's going to suggest, based on what I'm talking about, here's some things maybe you should think about. Can you find more recent real estate market trends and average home price for Meridian Eagle? What are some other noticeable activities? Search Google for school ratings. It's like, oh, that might be good. Or if I don't like any of those, I can just hit refresh and get more suggestions. A lot of times, its suggestions are better than where I was going. It's like, oh, that's a good idea. I should go down this road. And that's where it helps you with creativity. AI can help you be way more creative. So yeah, it's going to help you with ideas.
Did you say your business partner Eric is in Portland?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is a Portland-based company, or?
So we have people all over the country. We have 2 of our programmers in Texas, one's in Canada, one's in New Jersey. One of our head ladies is in Tennessee. 3 are in Portland. I'm here in Idaho with Nate. Nathan is one of our employees here in Boise with me. So we're kind of all over. Okay. We have a lot of members in Canada and Oregon as well, because one of the biggest influencers in Canada, that's an AI influencer, is one of our subscribers and promoters. So she's got hundreds of her people that are members of Huzi because she promotes it all the time. But so one thing you can do on this, guy, is you can start adding things like, oh, let's say you did an open house. I want to add an image. How many do open houses still? You guys still open houses? Okay. So let's say I have a sign-in sheet, like that little sheet I just passed around, the coaching sheet. So I've got a sign-in sheet. Here's some phone numbers, emails, and just a handwritten note. So I'm just going to take a picture of it, download it to Huzi. Hey, Huzi, can you add these people to my contacts list, please? Then I just add the image, and I just talk to it and say, hey, I want you to add these people to my contacts list, please. So that's going to read the photo, adding a dash of magic and a sprinkle of fun.
Oh, I like that.
So then it's going to say, here's who I see on this piece of paper.
Wow.
And it's like, okay, yeah, these are all correct. Now, do you want me to add these? Now, it doesn't just add them. This is really important to understand. At Huzi, we're very big on keeping you in the loop. You have to push on these little buttons to add them because you got to make sure it's right. Like, is that correct? I mean, it's reading handwriting, so it's not perfect, but it's really good. I've written really sloppily, and it still gets it right. But it's still, it's up to us to check these things and make sure it's doing the right thing,
This
right?
is a built-in CRM that these are going to.
Yep, so it's built-in CRM right here.
Can you tie it to another CRM? Everything's built into this.
Everything is built into Huzi. It does sync with KV Core. So if you have KV Core, it syncs with KV Core automatically. If you don't have KV Core, you can just import your contacts anyway. Save them as a CSV file if you have Follow Up Boss or whatever. Save them all as a CSV file, import it right here into Huzi, and now they're all in Huzi. The only downside is it doesn't communicate back and forth, if that makes sense. Huzi won't communicate with Follow Up Boss. It'll communicate with your file in Huzi.
Right. So you import all your contacts and then you do everything.
Yep. So for example, Sharon Walker is an agent here at Silver Creek that I work with, and I coach Sharon. So it only knows her name, her phone number, and her email. Well, let's say I ran into Sharon. I saw Sharon at the grocery store, and we talked for 10 minutes, and I find out she's got a brand new puppy, she likes gardening, and she's into fly fishing. I didn't know that. And she gave me her address. I'll just get in my car, pull up Huzi on my phone, right? I can pull this up here. I just pull up Huzi right here on my phone. I go into SparkPad, and I just talk to it. And I say, pull up SparkPad, hit the microphone. Hey, I just ran into my contact, Sharon Walker. I found out she is getting a new puppy. She likes fly fishing and gardening, and her address is 1743 5th Street in Boise, 83643. Can you add that to my notes, please? Thanks. And it'll just add it. Boom. I never had to log in. I never had to go to KV Core. I never had to log into Huzi. I just told it, and it'll just show up right here on my contact.
And isn't it ironic when we talk to these things, we say please and thank you?
I always do.
I do.
It learns how you talk, right? I know, yeah.
So you can do it on your phone.
Yeah.
The app will it download all your contacts that you have in your phone?
Yeah, if you save them as an Excel file, PDF, Word doc, however you want to, you got to save them.
I have an iPhone, and I just have my contacts, numbers, and things like that.
Yep.
It won't do from actual phone.
Right, you have to save it somehow as a file of some sort.
Oh,
Yep.
Can you tell us what it costs now, or do we have to wait till the end?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm buttering you up. No, so typically it's $99 a month. There's no long-term contracts. You can sign up and quit however you want. $99 a month or $984 for the year if you sign up a year at a time. But because you guys are at Silver Creek, and I do a lot with Kristen and Aaron, I coached Aaron for 6 years, one-on-one coaching every week for 6 years.
Wow.
And I've coached them from 1,000 agents to 2,500 agents. I coached Paul. Anyway, I always do good discounts for them. So if you use the SAVE 20, SAVE 20, when you check out, it's $79 a month for you, or $775 for the year to Silver Creek agents.
75 a month.
79 a month.
79 a month, or how much for the year?
775. Just to put that in perspective, I always like to tell people, I had Boomtown for many years, for over a decade. I had 11 years, I think, I had Boomtown. I spent over $1,000 a month. On Boom, literally, yeah, on Boomtown. I spent $1,000 a month on Boomtown. If you have we have a subdomain of KV Core that the Silver Creek gives out to everybody. If you have the actual full-blown KV Core, it's $1,000 a month. I had Conversion, Contactually, Firepoint, Lion's Desk, Salesforce, Boomtown. These are in my career of 31 years, different sales, different things I've had. They were all a minimum of $500 a month, and a lot of them were over $1,000 a month. Huzi's $79 a month, and it'll do 10,000 times more than what any of my CRMs ever did. It's just a joke, right? It's like,
It's unbelievable.
It's-
I thought you were going to tell me this is $500.
well, we did a call with Tom. We did a call with Tom Ferry, and he's trying to copy us. I don't know if you guys have seen Tom Ferry's AI. He's got an Air AI, Tom Ferry stuff. We did a Zoom call with him last summer, and they kind of tried to copy a bunch of stuff we're doing. They have about 1/10 of what Huzi has, and they charge $795 a month.
Wow.
$795 a month for Tom Ferry's AI, and it does 1/10, literally, of what ours does.
So over time.
Are there training classes where you can like get somebody?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Let me show you that. We got all kinds of stuff. Yep.
Rick, before you move on to that,
Yeah.
you were saying earlier how you'll have individual emails that go out.
Mm-hmm.
So your notes that you just added to Sharon's
Yeah. It'll know that now.
profile.
Yeah.
So you might be asking about the puppy in that.
Right. I
email.
might say like, hey, I haven't talked to Sharon in about 6 months, Huzi. I want to send her something. What should I send her? And it'll look through the notes. Right now, it'll do that. But coming is going to look through her social media stuff too and say, hey, by the way, did you know she went to Mexico last month? It's like, it'll start prompting me with, you've got these contacts you should get a hold of, and here's what you should talk about.
How does it know what her Facebook profile is?
Because it's going to tie. That's what's coming. That's what we're still building out. But it'll tie into all their different social media outlets and know everything about them. If they're pregnant, they got divorced, if they got married, if they travel, anything. It's like, what should I talk to my database? I've got 500 people who's in my database. Can you give me 20 people to contact this week and give me some talking points what I should talk about? And it's going to crawl all that and say, here's the people you should talk to and here's what you should talk about.
I can't even imagine what this will be like in 10 years, like
Oh.
what this will evolve into.
It's going to be crazy.
So how
So-
did Huzi?
Yeah.
I was gonna say, cost-wise,
Mm-hmm.
as this evolves, it gets bigger and better. I mean,
It's probably going to go up in
costs
cost.
will go up.
Probably.
Yeah,
At some point it
it'll
will.
go up, but I mean, do you think it'll still be affordable in 10 years? Like if you're an agent, and I mean, is it going to be
Yeah.
big to pay for this, or something else to?
Well, that's what it's going to go up. But I always tell people that's why I like to sign up for a year at a time because at least you hedge your bets for the full year. But we don't have any plans of raising it right now. But at some point it will because here's the thing about Huzi. Here's our goal. We want you just to log into Huzi into one place to do all of your real estate, from your lead gen to your lead conversion to showing property, negotiating offers, transaction coordinating it once you get, everything you're gonna do is in one place. So that means we're gonna have to pull a lot of stuff in. We're gonna have to have DocuSign. Right now we're working on a phone company that's gonna hopefully come out this summer where you can call out of Huzi and it will listen to your calls and give you live feedback. Here's what she asked, here's the answer to that question. Maybe you should talk about this because this is what she keeps bringing up. It's like it's gonna stream advice while you're on the call. That's gonna come out this summer. But pulling all these different things in, if there's a company that's built a really cool app or a really cool AI, we'll negotiate with them and see if we can partner with them, or we'll just incorporate their stuff. Right?
So how did
Yeah.
Huzi get started, and what does Huzi stand for?
So Huzi means courageous young man. That's why Eric liked it in Hebrew. Eric loved that word because he knew we'd be talking to it at some point. So now we're talking to it. We just started talking to it 6 months ago. The first year and a half of the company, it was all typing. Now we're talking to it, but hey, Huzi kind of just rolls off the tongue. He liked the word. It designed its own logo. He said, I want to think of courage, wisdom, thoughtfulness. We started giving it some words. The owl is supposed to be little owl eyes and wings.
What is ours?
It designed it itself. Huzi designed its own logo based on what we told it we wanted to stand for.
And when did the company start?
In December of 22.
So how many CRM type things are built into this already? So some examples would be like annual, home sale reminders and the monthly email thing you talked about and the newsletter. Do you have to train it to do all these things?
You just tell it you want it to do these things and it
You
will.
just tell it what to do and then it builds your CRM based on what you tell it, or are there some things that are kind of preset, like, I go here and I...
Yeah, we're building the preset stuff. I'm glad you asked that because I'll give you an example. Like in files. So all this stuff you can do manually right now in Huzi. Like if you go to files, and I'll pull up an RE21. So here's an RE21 from 2 years ago. Okay, so this is a real offer from 2 years ago. So I just pulled this up just for fun. I downloaded it into Huzi, right? So if you have an offer or a listing or a buyer you want to download into Huzi, you just download it. Then you can talk to it. So let's just discuss this file. So you might say something like, so now it read the file, it knows everything. Hey, Huzi, can you give me a deal summary of this file, please? I'd like the important milestones of the file. Also, anybody that's in here, any names, I want you to extract them and put them in my contacts list, please. And then the closing date, can you add that to my calendar? Right now, I just told it all this, and it's going to do all this. What's coming is what we call an easy button. We're going to have a TC Copilot. You just push the TC Copilot. It'll say upload your document. You upload the document, and it'll do this automatically. It'll also create a flyer. It'll create a social media post for you. It'll create a video to put on like Instagram or Reel. It's going to literally do all that stuff for you. So here's the closing date. What calendar do you want to add it to, Rick? My Google, Outlook, or Apple? I always want Google. Here's the people that were in the contract. So Truck Gwen, I think there's 2 different people here. Here's the deal summary of itself. It's like, it's going to go through and tell you all this stuff really quickly. Oh, Huzi, can you send an email to me of this, a summary that I can then forward to the other agent to make sure we're on the same page? I can just turn stop. So I liked it as an agent if another agent sent me a deal summary. So it's going to create an email that's going to email me. Send an email, gathering information. Okay, just send it to you. So then I go into my Gmail. And there it is in my Gmail. So it just emailed me. So I can then send this to the other agent. I don't want to send the other agent directly out of here. I would like it to email me. Then I can add some finishing touches, do whatever I want to do to it, and then send it to them. But it's going to do most of the heavy lifting for me right up front.
So this is going to do everything that a human transaction coordinator currently does at some point.
Yeah, in fact, we're actually building connectivity and sync with dot loop, sky slope, and a couple other back office things right now. So it'll be able to just turn stuff in for you as well to your office, which is going to be really cool. So here's a real use case I used in December. How many of you every year in the MLS, you have to take the rules and orientation course with the MLS, right? Remember that? So they just sent out this video. It was an hour and 40-minute video. Do you guys remember this? Chris Peterson did the video for the MLS, an hour and 40-minute video. And then there was a handout, an 82-page handout. So I downloaded the video. I just went to the YouTube video. All YouTube videos, you can click right underneath it. There's a little section that says more. Click more, show transcript, every video on YouTube. Show the transcript. I copied the transcript, I pasted it into a Word doc, and I saved it into Huzi. So it's right here. I've got the video right here, the whole hour and 40-minute video. Then there was a handout. There was 2 handouts that the class had. One was an 82-page handout. This is the rules and orientation class. I had to take this, even though I've been a part of the MLS forever. It's like I still got to take all this stuff. So I just downloaded the handout. Like, I'm not going to read through all this. I downloaded it. Then there was a violation chart. You guys remember that? If you're a bad boy or girl, you're going to get punished. Here's all the fines. Here's all the violations. Here's what they look like. So I downloaded the violation chart, okay? That took me about 2 minutes to download all those things. I go into SparkPad. I click Add Files. Well, what files do you want to add? Well, I want to add the video. I want to add the rules class handout and the violation. Right? So now it knows everything in the video. It knows everything in the 2 handouts. So now I opened up another tab on my computer where the quiz was. It was a 30-question quiz. I copied it. I pasted it here into the SparkPad. I said, Huzi, take this quiz for me. It did. I got 100%. Got checked off on the MLS, got 100%. I'm all good. And it took me less than 10 minutes to do all this. Now, this would have taken me 2 hours, right? It would have taken an hour and 40 minutes to watch the video. It would have taken me at least 15 or 20 minutes to take the test. I did the whole thing in probably 8 minutes. I'm done. Yeah. So that's a really cool use case for AI is, files. I use files a lot. The SparkPad and files I use the most. Just another thing, if you're interested in this, some people are super users and they use like DeepSeek or they use Gemini or Claude Sonnet or ChatGPT Pro, whatever you want. Those are all built in. You don't have to have a separate membership to DeepSeek, to Gemini, to Sonnet, to ChatGPT. They're all in Huzi. They're all there. So if you want to use one specifically, you can just pick one or just pick Huzi, and depending on what you're doing, it will pick for you because they all have different strengths. If you haven't used them much, it doesn't matter. But some people are like, I love DeepSeek because it's really wordy and it shows you what it's doing as it's doing it, why it thinks so you can see its process of what it's doing. Some people love that. Some people like ChatGPT just because we're familiar. It's like, whatever. But there are differences in the different AIs, in their image generation and how much language they use versus how succinct they are. But if you don't know what to use, just pick Huzi and you give it instructions and it'll pick for you what it thinks is best. We've also helped you with these mini GPTs built into here. These are things that you can build out anytime you want. Like I want a brand assistant, or I want a researcher for planning and zoning, and as soon as you click one of these, it's gonna start asking you questions. Who's your target market? What's your target area? Like anything you want it to start doing, it's gonna start asking you a ton of stuff. There's one in here I could do with you. Canva Companion, mortgage market snapshot, mindfulness coach, branding assistant. I've done some of these myself. I've built them all out. So
What is mindfulness coach?
Let's see. So it's going to start asking you questions. So this only asks you one question. Some of them ask you like 30 questions. You got to answer them all. Then it starts building out the process for you. Then it asks more questions. So it's like, what can I help you with today? Identify your current stressors or exploring mindfulness. How can I help you today? You just talk to it. What am I struggling with? I'm feeling anxiety, whatever. And it just start going, and it'll start creating more and more deeper and deeper thread. Just to give you an example, what's coming is a model called Satori. So Satori is on my site. You guys see this says try Satori right here? You won't have that yet. That's going to come out soon for you guys. But what Satori looks like is a 3D, basically 2D version of a SparkPad. Instead of a prompt response, which is kind of how we're all trained on language models, this is more of a visual model. This is getting closer to Jarvis from Iron Man. So I pulled up a video on, so this is actually for Dawn right here. She wanted to know, because we do red light therapy, we do cold plunges, and we lift weights and do yoga. So she goes, well, like how much of each one of these should I do? Is it good to do yoga and then red light and then the plunge? Or like what order should I do these in? And she was just like kind of questioning. I said, let's just play with this on Satori. So we pulled up this doctor's video on red light therapy, another doctor's video on the science of cold plunges, a book on all these different kind of modalities in yoga, and then we created a persona, and this is super simple to do, guys. You just go into here, you can create a persona, and you just tell it, you're an expert in holistic health. And you can kind of describe whatever you want it to do, and it's going to pull from the internet all kinds of information for you. Now it's created this persona that's an expert therapist for child therapy. I did one with my teenage daughter. You can pull anything. Text, you can add a YouTube video, a website, you can add a book. So we did that. So then we added a chat, the chat box, and the chat box is right here. So we started asking it questions. You can see how long this chat is. This is like crazy, crazy long. So we just started off pretty general. I want you to help me schedule my week with safe and effective incorporation of all the following modalities: cold plunges, red light therapy, yoga, and weight training. What order, duration, and schedule should I use? Then it starts answering. And you can go down here and see it gets, you know, we keep asking it for more specifics. Please give me more specific. What do you need to know from me? Ask me specific questions. So it asks a ton of questions. And then this is Dawn's answer. She answered. This is her answer. She's in my account, but this is her. Answering all these different questions. Then it goes through and it gets even more specific. And you can see we're not even halfway down. It gets really, really specific about what you want to do. Because it's an expert in all this stuff, because it's pulling from these 2 videos and this book and this persona. I can add more stuff. I can add more videos, more books.
Those 3 sources, and it's able to answer.
Those 4 sources, yep. The persona, the 2 videos, and the book. Yep. All pulling into one thing. And you can pull more things if you want. I mean, you can make this, you know, huge if you want to. And get it really, I've seen to see some of Eric's. This is like, there's 50 things going on, and he's talking to it, and it's pulling information from all kinds of things. So it's just a different way to access AI and talk to it instead of the traditional SparkPad like we're used to, where we just sit here, you know, talk to it right here, add an image or add a file. That still works really well. Your history is all over here. Everything you've ever talked to it about is here. Unless you delete it, right? You can select it, you can rename it, you can favorite it, and it gets pinned to the top. But it never forgets anything unless you delete it. And so when you go to the dashboard, your most recent conversations are right here. These are your 5 most recent conversations. Your 5 most recent files you've downloaded are all right here. These are ideas on different things to do. Help me build a strong personal brand. Let's role play common real estate scenarios. That's one thing I tell people to do with AI all the time. Role play with it, guys. Because people say they use AI typically for content creation, writing listing descriptions. I said, do you role play with it? Like, I've got an open house next week. Go say, hey, Huzi, I'm going to be at an open house, and I want you to be the realtor. I'm going to be the potential customer who doesn't want to give you their information. Okay, and I want you to get my information. And you can use Book Boost, which is in here. You can use the principles from How to Win Friends and Influence People, or use the principles from the Challenger Sale, or Spin Selling, or just leave it blank. But you can pick a book that you want it to draw wisdom from, and say, okay, ready, go. And it'll say, hey, welcome to the open house. My name is da-da-da. Thanks for coming in. I'll say, hey, great, thanks. I'll keep my answers real short, like a typical person at open house does, you know. And and it'll tell me what it's asking questions and why it's asking me that question. And just keep role playing with it. I've done that with like a seller I think is going to want to not pay my commission. They're going to want to talk me down on my commission. So Huzi, you be the agent. I'm going to be the seller because I know all the objections I want to throw at you. I can get it cheaper somewhere else. Somebody else will do it for 4%. You know, I can just go down the list and see what it says and have different books that it's using to answer my questions. It's so good for sales training. I mean, it helps us learn so much faster. Yes. Oh yeah, thank you, by the way. So there's all kinds of stuff on here. I get lost because there's so many things. So we have, first of all, we have the Learn page. So all the videos that we do, which is the first Tuesday of every month. So next Tuesday, we have a live call at 7 p.m. It's a 1-hour live Zoom call that Danielle and I do. They're all on here. If you can't make the live call, they're all on the Learn page. We did a webinar 2 weeks ago on all the things that are coming. That's on here. How to sync your contacts with KV Core. We've got tutorials, how to use everything, how to use the SparkPad, projects, I mean, all the different things. I haven't even shown you half of it, but there's tutorial videos on all that stuff under the Learn page. We also have the community. The community is where you can ask questions, you can talk to people, you can see how other members are using this, and we put all the links to all the classes on the community page, and plus right up here, so Nathan, who's here in Boise, if you have questions, like I'm trying to get it to create an email template that I can use over and over again, that has a checklist of certain things, and how do I do that? Because Huzi will just do that for you. Well, how do I do that? I'm not quite sure. And if you ask on the community, it might not be clear. So go to Have Questions. You just click this. Nathan has open office hours every Tuesday between 2 and 3 Mountain Time, 1 and 2 Pacific. So 2 to 3 our time. You can just book it and say, I want to have a personal one-on-one call with Nathan to walk through a specific use case I'm trying to get it to do. That's a huge advantage. So we have the learn page, the community, and one-on-ones to help people. Because we don't want you to sign up for Huzi and then go like, okay, how do I use this now? What do I do? So the other thing is if you sign up for Huzi, you'll have an onboarding call with me. So we'll do a 30-minute onboarding call. So what I suggest you do is if you sign up for it, play around a little bit, get some questions, then book your onboarding call with me and we'll go through specific use cases and what you want to do with it.
But Nathan only has a 1 hour block, 1 to 2. So what if 50 people have questions for him?
Well, he keeps putting more, he'll put more blocks on there if he has to.
Okay.
Yep, that's right now. It's like a real-time calendar for him. It's on his Calendly. So if he's available, he's available. If it's not, then it'll switch to something else. Yeah, there might be 2 or 3 people on there, depending on when it is, but typically he tries to keep it down to 1 person. But sometimes he'll move if he has to if there's like 2 or 3 or 4 people signed up. Yep. I think there was 4 people on last Tuesdays, but there's typically only 1.
Really?
So how many users do you have roughly so far?
About 1,000 members. And we haven't done any marketing other than me doing talks for 2 years. And that's, I mean, me and Danielle and Eric have done some talks. And that's literally the way we built this whole thing. So we're just now starting to do some marketing because that's one of the really cool things that's rolling out next month, so we're gonna have a Zoom integration that starts in March. So Zoom has 500 million users. It's a big program. So we're creating a Zoom integration where it's gonna do 3 things really well. So the first part is gonna be before the call, help you prepare, create talking points, whatever your class is, or you're teaching something or you're presenting something, it'll help you with how to do all this stuff and get it ready. Then during the call, it will live stream what to talk about. Hey, so-and-so asked this question, here's the answer. Here's some other things. Seems like they're interested more in this kind of stuff. Go this direction. It's like literally gonna be streaming on my screen only, advice as I'm doing the Zoom call. And then after the Zoom call, it's gonna be a follow-up wizard where it's gonna have, here's all the talking points, here's a summary, here's some bullet points to send them. You can package it up in an email that you can send it to all the attendees. So it'll be the before, during, and after phase. That's gonna be really popular. That rolls out in March. And we're betting on the fact that a lot of people are gonna wanna sign up for that because a lot of people use Zoom and this will help them be better.
Yeah, I'm on Zoom 3 times a week, easy.
Yeah.
Will that schedule appointments with the people who would like to meet with you as well? Like after your Zoom class, like you do a presentation?
Yeah, you hook your bot up to it. So that's one thing I haven't even talked about, our bots. Let's see, Huzi Assistants. So I didn't even talk about this. So what's coming next month are 2 things for sure, the Zoom integration and the assistants. Satori is coming, I'm not sure when, I can't give you a promise date. That one I just showed you with the visual screen, that's coming soon, but I'm not positive it's gonna be in March. But this is coming in March, so you're gonna have 5 different, the same costs, by the way. This is not an extra cost. The Zoom integration and this, if you're a member, you're gonna get it. Now, if you're not a member in like the next month or so though, we might charge separately for Zoom integration. Because we realize a lot of people are gonna sign up for that aren't even realtors. That's fine. We might monetize that separately from the whole thing, but if you're a member, you're just gonna get it. You're also gonna get 5 bots. So here's some examples. We've already built these for you. You would hit clone bot. So we're gonna have some trainings on how to do this, but just so you know, you can connect this to your Instagram, your Facebook, any other website that you want. So the use case would be on Instagram. You'd put a listing on your Instagram page and then say, hey, DM me if you have questions. You like this listing? DM me. And when you DM them, the bot is now taking over and talking to them. So if they have questions at midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning and you're not on Instagram, it doesn't matter. They get the answer right then. And the bot can schedule things, it can schedule appointments, it can schedule showings, it can put things in your calendar for you and say, oh, by the way, tomorrow at 3 o'clock, you've got an appointment now with this person that DM'd me last night at midnight, by the way. And so you can turn the bots on and off anytime you want. So you can jump in there and turn it off and you can answer the questions, or you can just let the bot run. You can put it on your website as a customer service assistant. You can have it generate leads for you by putting a QR code on all your yard signs, for example. And if they want to know more about the listing or see other listings, click this QR code and the bot answers all their questions, shows them everything they want, and it'll schedule appointments for you. So that's coming out next month, which is just going to be amazing. Because bots are replacing assistants. Because bots can do everything an assistant can do 24/7, right?
Okay, so I have a couple college degrees.
Good.
I am totally overwhelmed with it.
I know. I'm just scratching the surface here.
My mind is blown.
Yeah, I hired tutors
Yeah.
to help me. Do you guys provide something like, because I'm old. This is way out of my league.
Right.
But I'm trainable. So how can we get support if we?
Well, the Learn page, number one, everything is on the Learn page. The office hours with Nate, the live calls that we have, and then we send out emails almost every week about how to do stuff, new use cases, updates, all that kind of stuff. Plus, you've got me. I live right here in Meridian, so email Rick at Huzi.ai. I can answer your questions. I teach probably once every 2 months for Silver Creek. I mean, I'm here every Monday. I have a team here at Silver Creek, so I coach them every Monday. But we have a lot of resources just through Huzi for you as well. But what I would say is sign up for it and play with it first. If you play with it for a while, then you'll have more questions. You'll figure a bunch of stuff out, and then you're like, oh, that brings up new questions. Then you got another question. So that's what I would do.
Well, as soon as you start marketing.
Good to see you.
It's just gonna-
You're good.
This is gonna blow wide open as soon as you start marketing it. You say you're not marketing it.
We haven't marketed it at all.
Doing, presentations
And I was
and
Yeah.
wondering when you're gonna go public.
Yeah.
Can I sign up and share it with my husband? Can
course.
we be a team?
Yeah.
Okay.
We also realize people want team versions of this. Like the team version that would have different permission levels of contacts. Like I see all the contacts and you only see your contacts or whatever. We get that, and we have been talking about that as a group. That is something we will be building, but right now it's an individual because Huzi learns you. It learns who you are. When you set up your profile and you go into edit profile, you got to set this up. You put your own picture in here. You put your name, your phone number, your website, then you put your real estate license number. You put all your social media accounts in here because this is where it's pulling information. When it sends reports out to your clients, it's pulling stuff from here. So make sure this is all your stuff, right? But you can make Huzi look, when it sends out reports, I didn't even show you that because there's just so many things to show you. But when it sends out a report, you can change the settings. Like our default colors are black and orange. But you don't have to be black and orange. If you're silver and blue, like Silver Creek, you can change all these things. You can change the fonts, you can change the colors, make it look like your brand. So when somebody gets something from you, it looks like you, right? Not orange and black if you don't want it to be.
What about social media posting?
Here's my
I
own.
get on and talk to Huzi and say, hey, I want 15 posts a month on, through MetaSuite for Facebook and Instagram. Design me 15 slides that are a mix of, real estate content and Boise area lifestyle ideas.
Absolutely.
It'll throw that together and post it for me.
It won't post it for you. It'll put it all together for you.
All together, and then I have to go into MetaSuite and post
Yes.
it.
That's coming though, by the way, just to ask that. At some point, we will be integrating where you can just push a button and it will post it for you. Right now, it just creates the content and you've got to copy and paste and go post it. But it will at some point, probably this fall, I'm guessing, the way our timing of things is going, it'll just start posting stuff for you. Like if you get a list, you would go into projects, you would upload your listing. You would also download all the photos of your listing, and then it will create all the social media content for you because now it knows the photos, it knows the specs, so it'll start creating the verbiage. You can modify it however you want, but it'll give you a nice run out of the gate of here's what a social media post for this listing could look like. And if you like it, you modify it, then post it. It'll post it for you.
Reels too?
What's that?
Reels too?
Right now it'll give you scripts and it'll give you advice on like imagery and music, but it won't create the reel. That's coming though. We will create reels for people, probably this year. But right now it'll give you the scripts of what to talk about. Hey, I want to do a 30-second reel for Instagram. Give me some ideas on music to use, text overlays I should use. But then it'll show you how to create it in Canva, but it won't do it for you. But at some point it will. But it'll show you how to do it. Yep. It'll walk you through it step by step. We had a lady use a QR code. She goes, Rick, I don't even know how to do a QR code. I go, ask Huzi. Melissa Holm, and she got it all figured out in like 10 minutes. She had a QR code, she put it on her sign, she created a Google Doc. It was a live Google Doc, used that URL to point the QR code to. She put it on her signs, she started getting leads. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty simple.
You just get a magnet to throw on your sign or something? With the
A
QR
sticker,
code?
I would do a
Oh,
sticker. Yeah, I would do a sticker. Scan here for more information.
Pull off, 'cause every listing's gonna be different,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So, okay.
I would just scan here for more information, put a sticker up there and have that tied to the URL. If you have like an individual listing site, some of you have individual websites for your listings. Do you ever use those?
I don't currently,
But you can use those if you want. I mean, I think Silver Creek offers them. And you can just point the QR code to that site and then assign one of these Huzi bots to that URL, and it'll just answer all their questions. It'll set appointments for you.
Wow.
yeah, the only negative in this whole presentation is how do I learn as much as I need to, and like how long does it take, you know? There's just a lot of information.
Well, we're doing some on Tuesday's call, we're going to announce an 8-week training on the bots because I know a lot of people the bots are going to change the game of everything. I mean, you talk about, if you start using bots in all your listings, I mean, think of how many more leads you're going to capture. I mean, it's just like crazy. And people are going to want to know how to do that. We've done, like, it couldn't be simpler, but we're going to train people how to do it anyway. But we'll show you when you sign up. I mean, literally how to, you got to put your Instagram in here. You got to enter your actual Instagram address, and you just click clone, And then you would turn it on. There's a little toggle switch. Turn it on or turn it off? No, turn it on. And it's like, now it's on your Instagram page, and you can pull in all kinds of different things you want it to be an expert on and talk about. It's very simple. So we built these for you. You don't have to build them. All you do is just put your URL in there, and it's going to be on there for you. But we're going to do classes on how to do that because we realize people need it as simple as possible, and we will make it as simple as possible.
Going back to the thing you just had where you
Satori?
you're doing the cold baths and different stuff. So
Yeah.
More like non-real estate stuff. You and your wife are able to use.
She uses Huzi a lot, yeah.
So it's not like a voice recognition thing. She just uses. Doesn't matter who
Doesn't
talks
matter.
on it.
Yeah.
It
Yep.
just thinks, but there's one account user. So
Yep.
you're the account user.
Yep.
So my wife could get on and look for like recipe ideas.
Oh, yeah.
And stuff like that.
Recipes, workouts, fitness stuff. We have a triathlete that designs his workouts depending on what level of it. He gives his times on all the events, because here's my level, here's my times. Give me some ideas on how I can improve by 5% or 10% over the next year. What kind of things should I be working on? And it's like, it'll come up with different kind of strength training, different kind of endurance training, different diet stuff he should be trying. Like, it literally designs the whole thing for him. Tuesday's call is going to be on parenting, by the way. The first half of the call is going to be, because it's the first time we've done this, guys. The first time. Every call we've ever done has been on real estate. Right? Real estate, which is great. But you can use Huzi for anything. So we're like, Danielle and I were talking, like, why don't we do something else? So the first half of the call or quarter of the call is going to be Eric talking about the 8-week class and the bots. The rest of the class is going to be Danielle and I talking about how do we use Huzi for parenting and problem solving with our kids. And so we're going to show other abilities that Huzi has besides just real estate.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Help me does not, oh, I'm sorry. How do you sign up?
Go to Huzi.ai. Yep. And sign up. And then use the code when you check out. Use the code SAVE20, SAVE20, SAVE20. So you'll have to go through the whole process of signing up. Put your credit card information in. It says it's going to be $99 a month or $984 for the year, whichever option you choose, monthly or annual. You'll click that, fill it out, and then at the end it'll be apply a coupon code, and then you put SAVE20 in there.
And then
20%.
you do that on the computer, and then will it give you an option to download an app for your phone?
It's not an app, it's a mobile website. So if you have, here's the thing though, if you're an Apple user, it doesn't like Safari. Safari does not like AI for some reason. So the microphone we've had a lot of issues with, it works, but I would recommend you download Chrome if you haven't already, and use Chrome as your browser on your iPhone, and it works fine. All the problems we've had from Apple users have been people using Safari. Like for 2 months, the microphone didn't work. I don't know. That's a good one.
Chrome's good.
Chrome is good. I'll tell you guys, it's funny because we weren't going to do Google first. We were actually going to do Outlook first. Long story, but anyway, when you start dealing with these companies and trying to get them to integrate different things and acknowledge your tools and like help you integrate what's going on, Microsoft and Apple are the worst. They are so bad. It is not even funny. Google is awesome. We tried 3 months to get our Outlook stuff going. We have a girl, the reason we started with Outlook is one of the ladies in our development team was an executive at Microsoft. She specifically specialized in Teams. I go like, I prefer Zoom, but I understand Microsoft Teams, da da da. She hated it, even though she was an executive there. She didn't like it, but that's where we started and we couldn't get it done. We got our Google stuff done in a week. It took us 6 months to get Apple. 6 months to get our Apple stuff done. Literally, we got our Google stuff done in a week. And then if we have bugs now, we have no bugs ever with Google. The bugs that we have are with Apple and with Safari. And it's like, okay, so there's a workaround, like the microphone quit working for Apple users. Everybody's like, I can't talk to my phone. What happened? We look into it, oh, it's a Safari thing. So we always just recommend downloading Chrome, so that just works fine. But we finally figured out the bug. But Apple is so unresponsive and unhelpful. They don't care. Neither does Microsoft. They don't care.
I was just saying, you're talking about things you used, like you having your wife get on that. It helped me design my very first art show.
Really?
Yeah.
Stuff I didn't even think about, and it was like, and it's neat because you start thinking about stuff. It helps you be so much more creative. And it's like, it helps you be more efficient, obviously, that's what it's all about. But it's like, it opens doors that you wouldn't have had.
It's a huge time saver once you know how to use it.
Oh, yeah.
That's a value that I see.
Yep.
Well, and
Staying
gives
step
you the
ahead.
expertise. The only problem is now you're an expert, but then when you meet that person one-on-one, hopefully you know what your bot told it to do, or
Right.
information.
Well, you can read
Hopefully
through. You can read through the conversation.
Yeah, you can.
Well, the first file I ever downloaded was our subdivision CC&Rs, and I just asked it, how long can I park my boat in my driveway? It's like, well, 72 hours, because paragraph 8, section 4, subsection I, vehicles and parking, 3 days, 72 hours. Like, oh, but it just gives you the answer, like right then. It's like, so title reports, inspection reports, CC&Rs. I mean, that stuff is so much easier with Huzi. Just download the Huzi and talk to Huzi. Hey, there's things I should be aware of here. What are the red flags on this title report? It'll say, well, there's 6 liens. Oh, how do I get rid of the liens? And it'll go, here, you need to go to the county, get it recorded, it'll literally walk you through everything you want to know on how to do it on the liens. You have to upload the file first. Yep. So when you go into files, you would just click upload. So you go files, add files right there. What do you want to add? And just pull it from your computer. So PDF, HTML, DocX, JPEGs, Excel spreadsheets, all that kind of stuff.
For loan guidelines and things like that as well, right? So
Oh yeah, mortgage companies love this. Yeah. If you're an LO, think of how much easier this would be. I was like, I want to go to a lender and say, hey, here's my credit score. Here's my job history. Here's my debt to income ratio. Here's all the stuff you need to know. I want to know every bank, every credit union in the entire country that I qualify for, and it can do it in 10 seconds. Here's 17 different places you qualify right now.
Oh,
Okay. I mean, think about how much easier that's going to be for you.
Or to go to my job.
Yeah.
yeah.
It'll 10x what you can do. You got to think of it different, Sharon.
I see all the files. What about folders to throw everything into so you're organized? Like, oh, here's my real estate file.
Well, you just search it. You would just use the search function.
So everything is just individual.
It's all just there. You can rename them. You can, if you want to alphabetize them and rename them, but it does it chronologically. You can rename everything you want. I've got, just tons of books in here, tons of ebooks, tons of video scripts from YouTube. But yeah, you search through the search one. Like my Gmail, I don't use files. My Gmail has 200 and some thousand emails in it because I've had Gmail for 20 years. It's like, so if it's spam, I delete it. But every real estate deal I've ever done, every conversation with somebody, if I talked to Sharon back in Portland 12 years ago, there's an email in my Gmail. I searched Gmail. Oh, Sharon Lentz. Oh, there it is.
I'm thinking
Sharon
Google
Allen's.
Drive. My whole life is on Google Drive and Google Calendar. Google Drive, everything.
Yep.
Fire folder, I've got a seller folder. So
Yep.
it just seems like it would get kind of blurry if everything's just like files in here.
But
Mhm.
you can create that, you can set that up.
I guess I'm trying to think of how would, like get to some element.
Thank you so much. Yep.
Does
Thank
that
you for
make
being here.
sense?
Yeah,
I think
some people's brains work differently that way. They want, my brain doesn't work that way. I just want everything in one place, then I want a search function, and I'll find anything I want through the search function. Other people want categorizations of files and things. Other than renaming it, right now, there's no way to categorize these files. Yeah, just search feature and then renaming it.
So these are all Adobe, but it would just box it as well, right?
It would do what?
Box it.
Fox it.
Yeah.
If it's a PDF, it'll do it. I just use Adobe because that's my default. But like I've got page one. I've got some. Here's a CSV file, pictures. Yeah, there's a lot. It'll read a lot of things. I go to websites, right click on the website, click view source, copy and paste the HTML onto a Word doc, and it'll read that.
so. Here's an example. I've got a transaction and I got a bunch of files in it. I would just type in the address of the listing maybe, and then it would show me all the files for that listing.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm doing.
Yep,
now.
yeah,
Like,
it would do
I wanna
that.
See everything for a certain
Yeah.
thing like that.
Yep. Exactly.
So I don't overlook a document or something. But I'm sending all the documents of a.
Yep. Anything related to that, it'll find. Yep.
So how many people here in Silver Creek are using it now besides your team, you know?
I would guess between 20 and 30 agents here probably use it.
How about throughout the Treasure Valley? Do you have
Well, he said
I don't
it
know.
was-
I would say there's probably a couple hundred in the Treasure Valley.
that are using this?
Mhm.
Okay. A lot more will be. Susie.
A lot more will be. Yeah.
Well,
A lot more will be.
yeah.
So did you guys fill out my coaching sheet if you wanted me to call you? If you put your name on there, I will send you a text and we'll figure out a time next week that we can have a call. If you want to sign up for this, sign up. That Save 20 thing is like not a permanent thing, but I'll make sure because Nathan controls that through our Stripe program. I'll make sure he keeps it up for like a week or so. But sign up if you want to sign up before March 4th, which is next Tuesday, and jump on the call.
Yeah, I wouldn't even
Because there'll
know
be
where to
some
start.
really cool stuff.
I'm just lost.
That's why we do an onboarding. We do an onboarding, one-on-one.
onboarding.
Everybody that signs up gets a one-on-one onboarding Zoom call with me.
So,
What's that, hon? Yeah, play with it and then schedule your onboarding. You'll get an email. As soon as you sign up, you'll get emails to schedule an onboarding. And so I would say, okay, play with it for a couple of days, see what you like, come up with questions, and then schedule your onboarding with me, and we'll do a one-on-one Zoom call.
there's no contract. So if I go in, I put in the discount code, do I get a discount monthly, or is it just like the first?
Monthly. If you
Oh,
cancel
yeah.
though, and then come back, you won't get
As long as I do it
it.
monthly, so I'll just get billed monthly.
That's
until I
right.
cancel it.
That's right.
Okay.
You build
Well, I
monthly until you
appreciate
cancel.
the discount.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to help Silver Creek people, and I'm all about,
This is an amazing
Growing it.
brokerage. It's my third one.
yeah.
And they are just over the top amazing.
Yeah.
If
They are.
somebody
I
signs
agree.
up here and they're not a successful realtor, it's their
There's
fault.
so many tools here. That was the thing. So you guys know, I mean, you know, I ran the Keller Williams office here in Boise. We always thought of Silver Creek as like the enemy, right?
Sure.
Oh, they're the enemy. And we thought, oh, well, you know, they're a discount brokerage because they're a transaction fee-based brokerage, so they don't cost as much, but they don't offer as much. I couldn't have been more wrong, right?
Yeah.
They offer every bit as much as KW, if not more, and at a fraction of the cost. I'm like, what?
And they care about us. We're their customers.
Yeah.
There's a family,
Yeah.
a different feeling.
Well, Aaron is so funny because I started coaching Aaron in April of 2016. And I mean, I knew who he was, but I never really talked to him that much. And so Carla introduced, I was at Keller, but in January of 16, I moved my license. No, April of 16, you're right. April of 16, I moved my license here from Keller. And I talked to him about why and what was going on. And he promoted one of my classes back then. And Carla, who was his coach at the time, introduced us. And Carla kind of brought me into the coaching fray with him. So I started coaching him. He's a great guy. I mean, Aaron has never not done what he said he was going to do. And to me, that's really important because I've worked with a lot of leadership at different companies, and they don't always do what they say they're going to do. And Aaron always has. He's just a straight up guy. He tells you like it is, and he's super kind. He's a good person, but he's never taken advantage of me. He's never said, I'm going to do this and then not. I would have had people do a lot in my career. I'm going to do this for you, Rick, and then they don't. Aaron's never done that. He's been great. So I just have nothing but good things to say about Silver Creek and the Dowdies.
What are
The team is amazing.
Yeah.
What are the chances of down the road as this evolves it turning into, well, we have this a la carte option, this a la
Yeah.
carte option, where you're forced to like buy more things to keep the big machine going
Yeah, that's going to happen.
as an account holder?
It's going to happen. And once we start adding more and more and more different things, that we just to say, okay, that'll be, you know, we'll have your Elite Plus package, which has everything for $500 a month.
Right.
Or if you just want the Spark Pad and files, that'll be this. Yeah.
But we don't have to add, if you go down that road, we don't have to add those on
Right.
if we don't want to. Okay.
Right. Well, some of the stuff we're doing because it costs us money. I mean, you know, this stuff costs money to like, it's funny when DeepSeek, I don't know if you guys know much about the DeepSeek whole thing, but they came out, it's Chinese-based AI, and it was far cheaper. So we did a fun thing together as a group, part of our whole internal team and developers. We brought up ChatGPT's Analytic Thinker, which is like $200 a month, not the regular ChatGPT. There's more advanced ones. It's $200 a month to belong to that one, but it's much better. And so we did a thing where we said, okay, I want to go to Mars, and money is no object. So tell me exactly what I would do. And it's incredible how detailed it gets. And it took 10 minutes to pump this thing out. And it was like a book of propulsion and aerodynamics and materials, and you just couldn't believe it. And he goes, Eric said to us on the call, that what we just did, took like 10 minutes, would have cost about $30 last month. This is a month ago, so this is January. In December, that would have cost $30 for the tokens to compute this. We would have had to pay $30 on top of the $200 membership. Right now, this costs about $1.70 to do this. Because of DeepSeek came into the industry and undercut everybody by a lot, and it forced all the prices of computing down to pennies, which is great. I love it. So we weren't able to offer, like the bots, we weren't even able to offer the bots before unless we charged extra. Now we're just giving them to the members. 2 months ago, that would have cost us, because every conversation costs between like 1/10 of a cent and 3 cents. So every time, and if you look at average conversations with bots from people, they usually have 6 different back and forths before the person leaves or is done or gets what they want. So that could cost, now 30 cents. But back in December, that would have cost like $4 or $5.
Wow.
So we weren't going to pay for that. We're like, well, how do we pass this on to our people? Well, if you want the bots, you got to pay an extra $50 a month, up to a certain amount of usage. Then beyond that, it's on you. So right now we're saying it's up to 500 characters a month. We're just giving you 5 bots up to 500 characters a month. If you go over 500, so that's like 35 conversations, I guess, full conversations. If you go beyond that, you can turn it off. It'll stop automatically. But if you want to keep going, then it's on you, and you pay the rate, whatever it's 1/10 of a cent up to 3 or 4 cents per conversation. You can just pay whatever you want. Most people aren't going to use 500, but if you're a super user, you might. but we're going to give it to you free up to that number, and then you can pay for it on top of it. But yeah, everything at some point is going to have to be monetized, especially as we grow,
Sure.
because there's a ton of computing that goes on behind the scenes to just do simple things.
Yeah.
And all those computing things cost us money as a company.
So will you become like, do you think industry specific, or will it just be Huzi for everything, or others?
We're going to be very industry. Right now we're real estate, but we're branching out into, so the three things we started, our original vision was real estate, medicine, and education. We're already in 2 hospitals. We're trying to put medicine off until we completely do what we want to do with real estate. But real estate, the medical industry, and education industry are the 3 that we're going to go after.
Okay, so you're mostly real estate focused.
Right now we're real estate,
Okay,
yep.
okay.
But you can do anything with it, lending,
Yeah.
commercial, title. Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I talked to an insurance agent this morning in Illinois. I had a Zoom call with her who loves Huzi and uses it all the time. She just had some specific questions, and she sells insurance in a very rural town in Illinois. But it's like it helps her with her marketing. It helps her with figuring out how to she's all about retention, Rick. It's retention for her. So I use Huzi to help me come up with plans for each person, a touch plan, like an engagement plan for each person.
This is amazing. It's
Yeah.
just-
Well, thank you guys for being here. I've got a 2:00 call with our team, so I've got to run. I'm probably going to be late for it, but that's okay. They know I'm
You
late.
just blew my mind, Rich.
Good.
Nap.
It's nice to see you again, by the way.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, very good. Sharon, good to see you. Let's do a talk sometime together at some point. I would love to do that.
Yes, I would love that. And then I reached out to Palm Springs and Palm Desert.
Uh-huh.
And some of the brokers I know down there as well.
Yeah,
And now that I've seen this, I can explain it better.
explain it better. We can do a Zoom call with them too sometime.
Okay.
I'd love that.
I can set that up.
Yeah, that'd be great. I put the thing, oh, here's this thing. Thanks, guys. Thanks for being a part. We're going to sign off.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you. My name's Sarah. Sarah Keith. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
It's amazing.
Did you sign up on the sheet? I'll be texting you. I'll text you later.
Perfect. That'd be wonderful. Thank you. So I have to sign up before I can go in and play with it, right?
Thank you.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
If
Thank you very much.
Good to see you.
I signed up for a month or so to go and play with it, Dom's just like me. I'm always like, I gotta straighten this through. If I signed up for a month, so I can go in and play with it, and then I could do a full year, can we do that?
Yes,
That's what I'd like to do.
transition it.
Yeah, okay, because that's probably what I would do, because, we didn't even have the web when I was in college, so there was no,
Me too.
so this is.
graduated in 92. We graduated college in 92. Class of 88, high school.
Wow.
We're born 70, both of them.
Well, this is amazing, obviously you follow Gary Barka.
Yeah.
He's a